Hello, so this is Karl Perera from moreselfesteem.com, and actually it's got a dash between the more and the self-esteem, but it doesn't matter. You can just type in with or without a dash, it'll still get to the same place. Anyway, today I've got a video for you which has come from a request from a number of my subscribers to my newsletter, how to be positive in difficult times. So as we know, wherever you are living, all around the world right now, people are going through difficulties with COVID-19 and are stuck at home. Wherever you are, I don't know, but you may actually be coming out of lockdown and getting some freedom right now, like us too. Anyway, what I'd like to do is to give you some ways, 5 ways in fact, 5 ways to be positive even when things are difficult. So the first thing I'd like to mention is to go with the flow. Basically, you can't control everything, and whatever happens will happen, and try to be relaxed about it. You know, we all have difficulties about this, but to go with the flow. For example, this lockdown and difficulties, jobs and working from home and being with your family is new for many of us. Not for me, but for many of us, and actually it could cause a great deal of stress. So my message number 1 is just to go with the flow and let things happen. They'll often, if you wait a bit, they'll actually go better than you actually think they will. So that's my first tip. How to be positive in difficult times. My number 2 tip is one that I recently gave a video on. You can go and have a look at that video. I think it was my last one, all about how to use a gratitude journal. So the second tip is to be thankful, to have gratitude and to be thankful for even the smallest things in your life. For example, you might be thankful for your pets, for your family, for the house you live in, the fact that you're not homeless. You might have a really comfortable bed. You can be thankful for the bed. You can be thankful for your bedroom. You can be thankful for the book that you're reading right now. You can be thankful for one of your best friends. You can be thankful for something that happened to you. You can be thankful for your job, for people you work with. You can basically be thankful for anything, but you don't even have to pick big things. They can just be small things. I remember that this tip actually got me through serious depression. I would say I was seriously depressed for at least 3 years, and when I started doing this morning and evening, it really worked. So my number 2 tip for being positive in difficult times, which we have right now, of course, is to use gratitude, to be thankful, to make a list of 3 to 5 things and go through them. Okay, point number 3 on my list of things to do which will make you more positive during these times. And number 3 is one that I'm actually doing right now, is to take up a new hobby. So you need to take up, obviously, a hobby that you're really passionate about, and something that's going to make you learn stuff, something that's going to make you happy, and something that's going to make you excited to do, some time that you devote to yourself. Unless, some hobbies actually you can do with other people too. My hobby, for example, I recently started a brand new hobby. Don't know if you've got any news of that. I think I'll try to put a link or something, or even a picture in this video to show you the very start. I'm right at the beginning of it, so I'm pretty amateur at this, but basically my new hobby is astrophotography. So I've just bought myself a new telescope, which I don't actually know how to use fully yet. So each night I'm ruining my sleep. I'm getting up pretty early. This morning I think I got up at 3 o'clock, and I didn't go back to sleep till 6, and I only quit because it started getting light. So you know, and I'm taking my telescope outside and there's 2 cats in the house and they're not happy, they want to be involved, but of course they're not much help in terms of a telescope. Anyway, my new hobby is taking astrophotography, and so far I've managed, with a bit of a struggle, I've managed to take 2 photos of the moon, and I hope that more will come, more exciting things, so that might be also something I might feature in a future video or on my website, so do look out for that. So number 3 tip, just to run over that again, is to take up a new hobby. Now, whatever it is, you might be interested to, you know, if you've got a bit more time at home, for example, you might be interested to start painting, to start drawing, to do cooking. That's one that my wife is really into. I hope I'm not getting fat, but you know, taking up a new hobby can be reading, if you haven't been reading up to now, if you've been too busy with work. It can be literally anything. It could be well, not really a sport, is it, at this time? So let's go on to number 4 now, tip number 4. And this is one that I once thought up many years ago, is when you're thinking about the future. Obviously, when we're unhappy, we're either thinking about the past or the future. But let's look at the future for a moment. If you think about the future, now you can worry, you can get unhappy, and you can imagine all sorts of things going wrong, especially if you've got a new project, for example. But what if things go right? So asking this question, what if? And putting a positive slant on it. So for example, if you've got to give a public speech, you know, some kind of public speaking, what if I'm successful at that? What if I enjoy it? What if I could make a business out of that? What if my hobby takes off and I become a really successful astrophotographer? I don't think that's likely, but you never know. As long as you're positive, there's always a what if. So that's my tip number 4. Thanks, by the way, for continuing to watch. And I'd like to just break away for a second here. Should have done that earlier. But please, if you're watching this video and if you've watched this far, congratulations. Thank you very much. But please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can catch all my past and future videos and the present videos too. There's going to be plenty more coming. Please do that. So I'm going to go on to tip number 5 now. Tip number 5 is basically, you want to be positive in life, then one thing you've got to do is remove the negatives. Now that might be removing negative people, or it might be removing negative thinking, which of course is not so easy, but if you can change your focus, gratitude, taking up a new hobby, less stress, going with the flow and thinking what if, those things are going to help you focus more on positive, but removing negatives. So for example, I once tried not watching the news. I mean, right now, for example, the news is really boring and really full of negatives. But even if it's not during this time, any time basically, the news is only focusing on the negatives. If you watch the news every day, how can you have a positive mentality? I'm at a loss there. So don't watch the news. That could be one thing you do. Remove toxic people from your life if you possibly can. Of course, there are going to always be people that you cannot avoid. And try to introduce, as well as removing the negatives, try to introduce positive things. For example, you could start to listen to inspiring talks online. You could start to read more positive books, interesting books. You could read quotes. You can look at Facebook groups that have more positive slants to them. You can listen to inspiring music. So just a handful of things there that you could do to remove the negatives, but don't just stop there. Also introduce the positives. So I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say that's it for this video. Please go and watch, if you haven't already, go watch the video I did about the gratitude journal, and I'll put the link down in the description about that. How about, before you go, why not answer this question for me? What one thing do you think that you could do to be more positive this week? And do you like the idea of taking up a new hobby, or have you taken up a new hobby recently? If you got any answers you'd like to share with us, please put them in the comments down below.